The views and opinions expressed on Unlock Your Wealth Radio are those of the host, guests, and callers only and are not necessarily the views of Unlock Your Wealth Radio, Heather Wagenhals, or Success Publishing International.
Worried about retirement? Want to travel the world or just be around to watch your kids grow up but you can't because you're drowning in debt? Now you can! With Heather Wagenhals and the Keys to Riches powered by Unlock Your Wealth Radio. Heather will show you how to stop chasing your wallet, eliminate debt, lose financial stress, and live the life of your dreams. If you truly ever wanted to have more, do more, be and give back more, now's your chance. Listen weekly to hear what others are doing to manage their money better with these proven strategies for building wealth with the Keys to Riches financial philosophy. Now here's your host, Heather Wagenhals.
That's us. And this week's show is sponsored in part by Audible.com. Get a free audiobook download at keystoriches.com/free book and click on the link to over 150,000 titles to choose from for your iPhone, Android, Kindle, or MP3 player. Thank you so much for stopping by. Welcome to the Keys to Riches, powered by Unlock Your Wealth Radio. I am your purveyor of prosperity, Heather Wagenhals. And that would be our maestro of moolah, Michael Terry.
Hey, gang.
And we will help you get your money mind right on today's show with the following great features. So first off, what key is it this week?
Lucky number 7.
Lucky number 7.
Break the budget.
There you go.
Today, Junior. Break the budget.
Yeah, so we are going to break the budget. So those of you who have been with us since Key 2, with our assessment envelope, with our going green, and our organic view of our finances using our biological-based approach to money management, we are going to crank through those today. So we're going to be pulling those assessment envelopes out. So if you've been with us since Key 2 this season, go ahead and grab those. If not, never fear, because again, keystoriches.com is here and you can get up to speed by downloading the past shows and all of the worksheets that go along with it. We also have a great moolah word of the day, preferred stock, and we will get to that momentarily. But I want to tell you about this week's other show from our sister show at unlockyourwealthradio.com. You want to catch that show because we have Dr. Wade dropping in. He's our regular resident psychologist and life coach, and he is also our Mastering Happiness expert, and he's going to give us our next monthly installment for the Master's Course in Happiness. We're going to talk about some of the different things that you'll be learning this week. So if you are interested in enjoying where you are, in addition to where you plan to be, both personally, professionally, and financially, since that's the point of this show, and the fact that wealth is more than money, I would highly recommend you pop by and visit us at unlockyourwealthradio.com so you can grab that show and listen to Dr. Wade for this week. So I did mention that we have a moolah word.
We do.
Preferred stock. And one of my friends is taking their company public, and they're in the process of making private placement memoranda and all of that stuff. And people are asking questions. Well, what's the difference between preferred stock and common stock in the friends and family offering and all of that stuff? So how do I know what's what and what does it mean? And so let's start with, I thought that would be a great time for us to discuss what preferred stock is.
Sounds great.
So preferred stock, our moolah phrase of the day, is capital stock which provides a specific dividend that is paid before any dividends are paid to common stockholders and which take precedence over common stock in the event of a liquidation. So, for example, in a liquidation, like bankruptcy or something, lien holders get paid first. So anybody that has a bond or a loan, they get paid first, then preferred stockholders, then common stockholders if there's anything left to liquidate. So like common stock, preferred stocks represent partial ownership in a company, although preferred stock shareholders do not enjoy any of the voting rights of common stockholders.
Oh, really?
Yes. So first in line for the moolah, That you pick your battles. No voting rights.
Gotcha.
Also, unlike common stock, a preferred stock pays a fixed dividend that does not fluctuate, although the company does not have to pay this dividend if it lacks the financial ability to do so.
Really?
Yes. So the main benefit to owning preferred stock is that the investor has a greater claim on the company's assets than common stockholders. Preferred shareholders always receive their dividends first, and in the event the company goes bankrupt, didn't I just already do this? Okay.
I don't remember talking about bankruptcy. No.
Okay. All right. So here we go. So preferred shareholders always receive their dividends first, and in the event the company goes bankrupt, preferred shareholders are paid off before common stockholders. In general, there are 4 different types of preferred stock: cumulative preferred stock, non-cumulative preferred stock, participating preferred stock, and convertible preferred stock, also called preference shares. So we can look into the other ones later. We can explore those on a different show because this is a big key, so we need our time for the key. But for an example, using it in a sentence, the average investor often grumbled about high-level executives buying and selling preferred stock, but that was the way the corporate world worked. That's a crappy example.
Tell us how you really feel.
I don't think that, it's just because they have the ability to do that. Preferred stock is a different type of stock. It's sold at a different price. Here's another quote. I recently purchased preferred stock in XYZ company as it afforded a greater current dividend rate than its common stock and allows for conversion to common stock in the future. See, so there are benefits. So it depends on whether voting rights are important or whether the dividend is important. So based on, so let's say you like XYZ company, but based on where you are in your investment horizon will depend on what you want. If you are older and looking for income and stability, the preferred stock would be the place to go because you know you're going to get a dividend and you know what it's going to be. So you can start planning for income as you get older. So that's the benefit of that. But if you're young, you can fly by the seat of your pants and actually affect the direction of the company if you have common stock. But
if you know what you're doing too. I wouldn't know how to vote if you it's too difficult to understand all the hoopla.
No, well, does somebody get a pay raise or not? That's not hoopla.
That's true.
That's a pretty simple voting issue. Mm-hmm. Yay or nay, give them a raise. Yay or nay, change insurance policies. Yay or nay, change benefits. So it's all simple stuff.
Okay.
It just you're unfamiliar with it. And so your fear of it tells you it's convoluted. It's easy to write it off saying it.
Well, giving people a raise is that in itself is a controversial subject.
Right, but if they're worth it, then you vote yes. If they're not worth it, you vote no. Yeah. Do you keep people on the board? Do you have scoundrels on your board? You can unelect them. You can put other people in there. That's the value.
You got to do your homework though.
Yeah, but they give you all the information. They usually send out, the stock people send out stuff.
Oh, yeah, I get those all the time.
But you probably just throw them away because they're thin like tissue Bible paper,
Sometimes I get these books.
I know. It's funny to me that it's like that it comes on Bible paper. Is there another meaning to that? So thin. It's like, are these holy pages? Are these some sacred information about your investment? I always wonder.
Prospectus, that's what they're called.
Well, the prospectus is what you get when you your offering statement is what you get your prospectus, but then when you get your other announcements, for the financials and stuff like that, it still comes on that Bible paper. Yeah. Mm-hmm. It's kind of crazy. Yeah. So you always wonder about that. So, well, that's it. Preferred stock. And over the coming weeks, we can explore the differences between the stock classes and talk about those. That
sounds good, yeah.
Yeah, so we can have some fun with that. So this week's key.
Break the budget.
Break the budget. So For those of you who are unfamiliar with the Keys to Riches, or this is your first time joining us, welcome. Thank you so much for stopping by. We hope we increase your ability to manage your money more effectively. The Keys to Riches is a financial philosophy that teaches you how to think like the rich and be in control of your own money. It also gives you specific techniques to create or fix your credit, eliminate debt, save and invest, building wealth while transforming your current financial habits into healthy money management skills. And we do this one key at a time, 1 week at a time here at Keys to Riches Radio. And we're at the 7th key. So in key 2, as a quick refresher for those who were around for key 2, we did our organic assessment. It was our key is take action, make assessment for key 2. And because this is a biology-based money management show, and because you already know to spend less and save more, but you don't, we have to look for something different. Most people, when they go to create a budget, the first thing you do when you sit down with a financial counselor or a credit counselor is they want to know how much you're spending and in what areas. And then they create a budget. But that's only part of it, okay? That's only part of the program, because how many times have you created a budget only to blow it?
We break the budget.
We break the budget all the time. So why have a budget if it's so easy and habitual to break it? So we should just break it for good and get rid of it. But it has to do with a mindset, and it has to do with perception of what's going on. And so I always like this key. I always compare and contrast dieting and budgeting.
Right.
And a diet is everything that goes into your mouth. Okay. A budget is everything that goes in and out of your wallet. When you go on a specific diet, whatever it is, it's something you are going on to if you adhere to some sort of a prescription. So when we hear the word diet, we don't think of everything that goes into and out of our bodies. We just hear diet, and the first 3 letters spell the word die. So it's got already right out of the gate, it's got that negative connotation, right? So when we make a specific diet or a prescribed diet, it's something we go on to and then consequently off of, because we can't maintain it. Mm-hmm. And the same thing happens with budgeting. And if you think about the root word of budget, it's French and it's budget. And the original root of the definition was that it was a small handbag. So when we think of a budget, we need to think of a cocktail handbag, a cocktail purse. Mm-hmm. So what can that contain? A small comb,
not a lot.
Keys, a few bucks, couple credit cards and an ID, lipstick, but not more.
Pretty limited.
It is limited. So you have to be selective about what you choose. And so the budgets, if you think of all of the all of the comparisons to wallets and purses, you think about our political system. Mm-hmm. Okay. So Congress has what? The power of the purse. So we all think in terms of this money coming in and going out, right? But with a budget in particular, it's not your oversized Louis Vuitton luggage style handbag. So we're talking something that's small. So you have to be particular as to what goes in it. And so if you think about from a money management perspective, a budget has specific things only that can go in it. Everything else is considered a deviation. It can't come with. So what does that mean? Like from the grander scheme of things, something has to be left out, right? Mm-hmm. Sure. So we're coming from a position of lack. So how is arriving at a financially free destination coming from a place of lack going to work? It's not. Yeah. Because we're focusing on the lack that we have as opposed to the abundance we would like to create. So our focus is wrong. Our focus is about lack. It's about abstaining. Okay, so what do we know about any form of abstinence?
It's biologically, we're not
wired for it.
We're not good at it. Yeah.
We want to go towards pleasure and away from pain in this moment. And when you tell us we can't have something, what does that do? It makes us want it more.
Yeah, we want
It's just a natural thing, and so when you deliberately abstain from things, think about it as that chocolate cake sitting in that wonderful glass decorative storage container on your counter. It's displayed nicely, and you walk past it each and every day, and you say, no, I can't have that. It's not on my diet. And we just keep walking by. Pretty soon, your willpower is going to wane. Your discipline will dissipate, because what do we know about those two things? That they're conscious activities, but our subconscious behavior is going to override it, and we're overwhelmed. And then if you think back to take emotion out of the picture and no seasonal hope for the best, plan for the worst, our survival mechanism and desire and drive for satiety is going to be overridden, and you're going to be into that cake. And instead of just having maybe a little bit here and there throughout the week, you're going to eat all of the cake that's left.
Yeah, baby.
All 3/4 of the whole entire cake, instead of maybe a smidge here and there, a sliver. And so what the problem is, and this is what I see with other financial gurus saying, cut up your credit cards and stuff like that. It's not about abstinence. That's the wrong approach. Right. The right approach is, how do I control my physiology so I can respond appropriately from a position of power and strength instead? That's the critical key. That's the shift in the break the budget key, because instead of budgeting, we get rid of that and we have a healthy savings and spending plan instead, which affords us the luxury to have things now and enjoy things now while still keeping an eye on the future and contributing and building our financial freedom each and every day. So it's about understanding and harmonizing the pocketbook. It's not about restricting things, because when we goof up, it's not about how much, okay? Because the goof doesn't reside in the dollar amount. The goof resides in the failing in our behavior and our ability to override that consciously with our discipline and willpower. Okay. So what we have to do is the whole point of the take action, make assessment key is to assess our behavior. That's what we're really doing when we do the key 2 is we're looking for a behavior assessment. We're not looking for how much, we're looking for when and the why behind it. And that way we can make behavioral changes that can have long-term positive financial effects instead of just making budgetary changes which don't affect the behavior whatsoever. Mm-hmm. And if you don't have the discipline and willpower, it's not going to happen anyway. So that's why we have to focus on it from that perspective. You are listening to the Keys to Riches powered by Unlock Your Wealth Radio. This segment of Keys to Riches Radio is sponsored by KeepMyID.org, the only service that actually prevents identity theft. All others are just monitoring services. Put your credit on lockdown with their special offer for Keys to Riches Radio listeners by visiting our website at keystoriches.com/KeepMyID and click on the link to put your credit on lockdown today. Remember to use promo code WAGS. So Key 2 got us started on things. So if you did Key 2 properly, you have been collecting receipts in your assessment envelope and you've just been stuffing them there. You haven't looked at them or anything. So what we're going to do now is we are going to take them out and we are going to categorize them. And the reason why we do it in this fashion, as opposed to just looking back at our expenditures over the last 3 months, is because what we're trying to do is capture patterns of behavior. And we can see those specifically in our spending patterns, okay? And I'll give you an example of a past coaching client here that's a really good one. So when we did our assessment envelope and we were learning the keys as we were going through assessing things, and as you know, for those of you who have been with us since the beginning of the season at keystoriches.com, you know that you can do the assessment envelope and learn, but not have a conflict. So some of the things that we were able to discern from this approach as we were assembling the receipts in their categories and then putting them on the savings and spending tracker is that you can see a flurry of activity in certain categories at certain times of the month. And this is critical because we behave differently at the beginning of the month versus the end of the month, and at the beginning of the paycheck versus the end of the paycheck. That's why we need that full 6 weeks, because we have to overlap a full month and the beginning and end of a month, as well as several pay periods. And so, interesting enough, you can always tell when there was the pay period because the husband would have a larger than normal bar tab. And you could always tell when the wife was experiencing some emotional calamity because it started out with a trip to the ice cream shop and then 3 or 4 different retail outlets for spending, for some retail therapy. And so what we were able to do is find out that, because here's what we know about money. Okay, especially with our biological approach to money, is the things that we do with money have nothing to do with money or its availability. It has everything to do with the way we respond to our biological processes. Okay, and so it also has to do with programming. I saw the greatest meme the other day, and I don't know, it didn't have like a quote from who had said it, so we'll go with unknown at this point. But this meme had said, the first time you do something wrong or incorrectly, it's a mistake. If you do it again, it's an active choice. Yeah. It's not continually making the same mistake. Sure. It's now choosing the aberrant behavior or the destructive behavior. Yeah. You know, the non-productive behavior, as I like to call it, because it may not be aberrant, but it could just be non-productive. Against what you said your goals were. So if you did your goals in key 3, then this will make more sense. So, you know, you're going to break them out and put them all in their spending categories. So, you know, like, you know, car stuff has a category. All you have to do is visit our website at keystoriches.com and put in the search bar savings and spending tracker, and you can download that worksheet. Cool. And so you can see how to map out the 30 days of your month. But what's neat, by the way, it's laid out on the page, you can track the emotional challenges. Now, here forward, now that we're assessing our past behavior, what you're going to be doing is every day you spend money, the next day you're going to make your entries. You're not going to do it same day. Okay. And the reason why is you want to have a little distance between what the emotional spending or the survival spending you did the day before and today, so you can look on it, you can reflect faster. See, here it takes us a while, but we have to assess the behavior patterns first. When I get paid, this is what happens. The husband goes out and he's the big spender. By the end of the pay period, he's mooching drinks off of people. Yeah. So that's kind of his way of making up for it. Right. So he's riding this cyclical wave. And, you know, you don't have to be that gregarious, magnanimous person and be the one to buy every time. Right. We just did an update on this, as a matter of fact. You know, you don't have to be that way. Even if your friends have alligator arms, you can politely decline or refrain from getting sucked into buying for everybody.
Did you make that up?
No, I didn't make that up, but there's a really great Geico commercial for insurance, and everybody's at this big dinner party, and there's an alligator in a suit. And he's trying to reach for the check. He's like, I got it. As the waiter drops it down. But then, like, he just can't seem to grab it.
Yeah. I can be like that.
Alligator arms.
Oh, geez, I missed it.
Yeah, what happened? Oh, you're so fast.
Yeah, you're so quick.
How did you do that?
You know, and I love the guy that plans to go to the bathroom, to the men's room, you know, when the check's going
to come out. Oh, got to go to the restroom. I'll be right back. You got that, Bob? Thanks. So anyway, so we can start identifying these things. And so that doesn't have anything to do with money. What that has to do with is either the guy owes people, so he has to get out of the cycle of borrowing, or he has to not have or find another way to fulfill his desire to be approved and accepted by his friends. Mm-hmm. You know, there are other non-financially incumbent ways to endear your friends to you. And always having to buy, being that guy, just means you're that guy that always buys.
Yeah.
It doesn't necessarily mean that they're grateful or that they're going to reciprocate. Because, we've got no seasonal sections coming up next week, and it's perfect in time for the holidays because, if you think about it, giving is about the giver, not the recipient. And so when you're buying for everybody, what are you trying to achieve? If it's just to make somebody feel good, then that's fine. If you want to be remembered, that's fine, whatever your goal is. But you can't do that if it's going to be financially detrimental to yourself. We have to think in terms of the oxygen mask. In the event of a loss of cabin pressure, put your oxygen mask on first. It's okay to take care of yourself first. Charity begins at home. You must take care of yourself first before coming to the aid or rescue of others. And if you don't have an emergency fund, and if by the end of the pay period, you're now bumming drinks and cigarettes from people because you can't afford them yourself, then you have to reevaluate that behavior. That behavior is not productive toward achieving your financial goals. And so what can we do to fix the self-esteem without going into debt is the question that we're answering. Because it's a self-esteem question. It's not a financial question. It's not about if the guy made more money, because if he did, he would just buy more rounds.
Right.
Because it's not about lack of money.
Right.
It's about behavior issues. Right. And again, that's all subconscious stuff.
Yeah.
So we have to think about that. So additionally, as we're going through this, the wife was also self-soothing financially with her little retail therapy, shopping binges. And that's behavior that's learned, I had another coaching client that learned that if you get into a fight with your spouse, the first thing you do is go to the mall. That was ingrained in her from a child, because when mom and dad would fight, mom would take the girls to the store and go shopping and buy things. Okay. And paid with plastic. You never saw credit. You never saw cash come across. It was always credit. Sure. And by doing that, by having that programming in place, at a small age, this is what is done, and it happens over and over. So the behavior gets reinforced, whether or not you understand truly what's going on. The pattern gets established. And what do we know? Once we establish a pattern and we successively reinforce it, the neurons in the brain, what neurons that wire together, become stronger. That connection strengthens. Mm-hmm. And it doesn't matter if it's a good behavior or bad behavior. It just strengthens. And for her parents, it was inconsequential because they were wealthy. But her and her husband and their fledgling marriage just starting out, they weren't wealthy and they were going into debt. And it was ironic because the behavior spurred the arguments, which spurred more of the bad behavior. Yep. And how do you jump out of that? Yep. Well, you have to reprogram. Say, look, if I can't manage my emotions, I need to learn how to effectively converse with my husband and agree to disagree agreeably, not get into a fight, storm out, and hit the mall for some retail therapy to make myself feel better in this moment. Because again, all we're doing is placating survival mechanisms, fight, freeze, or flee. So when you fight like that and you get wore out and you don't want to fight anymore, you flee. And to the mall is not a good place. To the mall is not a good place. So we have to stay focused on what it is that we truly desire. And when we create our healthy savings and spending plan, we want to use this technique that I call not no, just not now, and allow yourself or permit yourself to have that item, but choose another path actively. Say, but I could have this now, but I choose to have it later. And you don't have to go in a big discussion with yourself as to why, because you want to have a financial future as opposed to instant gratification. Although once in a while, instant gratification is nice. But asking that question and answering it, how do I want to be remembered? And am I financially secure? Is this decision taking me one step closer to or further away from my financial security? Yeah. And if it's further away from, you have to decide, is that okay or not? Because if it's not, then you need to forego the behavior and make a healthier choice, financially healthier, not just, physically healthier. Yeah. But by making that healthier choice financially and physically, it's also mentally healthier because now you have confidence and you're building your own form of financial security. And that is what we're truly after. It's not necessarily the dollar amount. It's the level of security knowing that dollar amount exists that we provide for ourselves. Thank you so much for stopping by for our key statement, key affirmation, and key action item. Please visit our website at keys-to-riches.com. And for the maestro of moolah, Michael Terry, I'm Heather Wagenhals. Now go out and unlock your wealth today.
UnlockYourWealthRadio.com is produced by Heather Wagenhals and the Unlock Your Wealth Foundation. UnlockYourWealthRadio.com and its affiliates are copyrighted 2016 with all rights reserved. For more information on the Keys to Riches Financial Wellness Series, please visit our website at www.unlockyourwealth.com.